Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to learn about the transport layer in computer network subject, and the topic will be process to process delivery. My name is Himanshi Chaudhary, Department Computer Science and Engineering, Kite Group of Institutions. Now we have already studied layers in short in the start of the subject. So there we learned about the all the layers and the responsibilities of all the layers. For example, we learned about the data link layer, and the responsibility of data link layer is to deliver the frames between two neighboring nodes. So that is known as node to node delivery. We learned about network layer, and the responsibility of network layer is host to host delivery. In a very similar way, we are having transport layer, and the responsibility of transport layer is process to process delivery. That means the delivery of packet, part of message from one process to another. Here we can see that we are having two computers that are communicating with each other. So the responsibilities are divided like that. Between node to node, the responsibility is for data link layer. So all these are nodes. So delivery in between them will be handled by data link layer. Between host to host, this network layer will take the responsibility of delivery between these hosts. And when we talk about the process inside the computer, then this kind of delivery is handled by the transport layer. We are having a client server paradigm where we can see that on the client side, we are having a local host that needs the service from a process, usually on the remote host that is known as server. So for the communication purpose between the client and server, we need to know that what is the local host, local process, remote host and remote process. Local host and local process are on the client side, and remote host and remote process are on the server side. Let's learn little about addressing. On data link layer, we use MAC addresses. In network layer, we use IP addresses, and on transport layer, we work with port numbers. We have learned this in the start of computer networks that the port numbers are of 16-bit integers that range from 0 to 65,535. Now, on the client side, whenever client needs to request something from the server, it must define itself with a port number, and that port number can be chosen randomly by transport layer software running on the client host, and that number is known as ephemeral port number, that is temporary port number. But for the server, internet has decided to use universal port numbers, and these are known as well-known port numbers. We can see in this diagram that whenever client and server are communicating, the client side has decided that it is having a port number 52,000. It's a ephemeral port number, and on the server side, it is the pre-decided port number on the server side for the daytime server, that is 13. So this is how they can communicate by using the port number. There is a subtle difference between IP address and port number. For any computer, there is an IP address defined. Basically, IP address defines the host, and on this host, we are having multiple processes, and each of the process is having a port number associated with it. You must know that IP header have IP addresses that selects the host, and on the transport layer we design a header using the protocols like UDP, TCP, HTTP. On these headers we are having these port numbers. So overall this has a port number and an IP address. Now let's learn about the INA ranges. INA, Internet Assigned Number Authority, is an organization that is the centralized authority which defines that which port number is associated with to which process. So we are having three categories of port numbers. One is well-known port numbers, registered port numbers, and a dynamic port numbers. This also can be termed as private port numbers. Well-known port numbers are range from 0 to 1023. Here we can see registered port numbers are ranging from 1024 to 49151. Well-known port numbers are assigned and controlled by INA. It means on server we already have some processes that are numbered in the range from 0 to 1023. Registered port numbers are not assigned by INA but controlled by IANA. Basically, they can be registered, these port numbers can be registered with IANA to prevent the duplication. Next, we have dynamic ports. Basically, these are private ports. So, these range from 49152 to 65535. These are neither controlled nor registered, and any process can use any port number ranging from this. So, these are known as ephemeral port numbers. Basically, these are also termed as temporary port numbers. Then, the next term we must know to learn about transport layer is socket address. What is socket address? Whenever we combine a IP address and a port number, this together is known as a socket address. So all the theory is written over here that the process to process delivery needs two identifiers, that is IP address and port numbers at each end to make a connection. The combination of these two is known as socket address. Now, a transport layer needs a pair of socket address, that is a client socket address and a server socket address. So, these four pieces of information are already the part of IP header, as IP header is having IP addresses, and then inside the IP address header, we have a UDP or TCP header, and in that we have a port number. So overall IP header have all these four information. So IP header contains the IP addresses, and the UDP and TCP header contains the port numbers, and IP header contains these headers. Now the next topic is multiplexing and demultiplexing. On the sender side, we have a multiplexer because there are several processes that need to send the packets. However, there is only one transport layer at any point of time. So you can see that there are multiple processes on sender side, but there is only one transport layer. So what do? We do many to one relationship. It means all of these processes are multiplexed on this layer. Then this protocol carries the data. So this protocol accepts the messages from different processes differentiated by their assigned port numbers. So this is important that all the processes have their different port numbers. Now after adding the header, the transport layer passes the packet to the network layer, and then these are all carried by the next layer, then delivered to the receiver side. Then on the receiver side, we have a multiplexing. At receiver side, the relationship is one to many, and it requires demultiplexing. Now for this process, maybe this process is the matching one. So the demultiplexing for this process has to be done. So the transport layer receives the datagram from the network layer. After error checking and dropping of the header, the transport layer delivers each message to the appropriate process based on the port number. All of these content have been taken from Veros Frozen book, Data Communication and Networking, McGraw-Hill Publications. Thank you for learning from this video. Happy learning.